What's up, everybody? I'm former quarterback Malik Rosier, and if football, sports interviews, and having a good time interests you, then make sure to click the like and subscribe button as it really does help support this channel, and it also makes sure that you guys never miss a new video. How's everyone doing? And welcome back to the episode of the Malik Rosier Show. Super excited to be here on this Thursday, August 17th. And what we're really going to talk about today is some QB battles, some, battles in general at the University of Miami. We were going to go into my ideas, on how Miami can kind of pass that hurdle. A lot of people have them somewhere between 7 to 8 wins, but I think Miami potentially could get 9 wins. And I'm going to go in kind of detail on how I think they can do that. I'm even going to go through the schedule. Obviously, again, I think that they can win around 9 to 10 games. So I'm going to go through the games I think they can win, that they can't. And then lastly, we're going to talk some different conferences and we're going to talk Texas. Okay. So again, to get started, we're going to talk about Miami football in particular. So again, these are a lot of the battles that I'm going to be watching all year. Number one is for QB2. This is really going to show up in Miami, Ohio. This is going to show up versus Bethune-Cookman. It potentially could show up in some late games. Like I'm hoping that games like Virginia, that late in the third quarter, fourth quarter, we're able to sneak our QB2 in. So that's the real reason why I'm going to be watching these guys. For the linebacker position, obviously we have Malik Rosier that transferred in. I've heard a ton of buzz still about Corey Flagg, his growth, his everything that he's doing things the right way. So I'm excited about our linebacker room. I think that's a position group that's going to be super, super in depth. Again, I don't know if they're going to be the most talented group that we have, but I think between productivity, doing the right thing, being in the right place, this linebacker group will be productive for us this year. The D line group, obviously, we've had people transferred in. We had Dean from Purdue come in. We obviously, we have Ruben Bain, who's up for, freshman All American potentially. Obviously, there's LT as well. There's Akeem Mesidor. So to me, the defensive line group is going to be a group. We're going to have a ton of young guys that might be trickling in, playing some, rotating in. And so I'm super excited to see, how many reps these young guys can earn. Obviously, I hope Nigel Kelly has a big year because I think we're definitely going to need him on the edge. Defensive back, obviously we had Davis. We had Brown and we had Richards that all transferred in. To me, the guy that I'm most interested in is the transfer from Vanderbilt. I think that he's going to have heaviness to him. Obviously, he's played a ton of Big Time football in the SEC. And I know that Vanderbilt's always been a kind of like nifty team, to me. They're almost like the Duke of the SEC, where like they're not talently, gifted, but they're really smart. They're going to be in the right position. They're not really necessarily going to beat themselves. You're going to have to beat them. At the receiver group, obviously, we have a ton of guys. There's Jacoby George, there's Ray, there's Tyler Harrell, there's Xavier Restrepo, there's Brashard. There's a ton of guys in the receiver room that can make plays that to me have to make plays for us. And I'm super excited to see which guys rotate in. I expect different personnel groupings coming in, especially out of the tight end group, because we do have a pretty good tight end group this year. So I'm excited about that. Obviously, at the running back group, the guy's name has been popping a ton has been Mark Fletcher. I know prior to Mark Fletcher coming here was a lot of Chaney. And now that everyone's seen the size of Mark, seen him run, the physicality, now people are slowly shifting towards Mark. To me, I would love a three-headed monster. I would love a Paris, a Don, and a Mark Fletcher. All three of these running backs, give you something a little different. I think Parrish is the overall back. I think Don kind of gives you the home run, and Fletcher is just your power, your workhorse, your 3rd and 1 to 2, your red zone guy. So to me, I think they need to be utilized in different situations. And then lastly, the offensive line group. To me, this was the biggest group that I got upgraded. To me, the biggest guy really was Matt Lee. Because at the end of the day, you can have great guys on the edge, you can have great guys on the interior, but if you don't have a guy that's controlling them and saying, hey, we're going to move this one unit to the left or to the right, or hey, hey, no, like I know that the slide protection was going left, but there's a blitz coming from the right, so we're going to slide it to the right, and you guys are going to man on backside. To me, that's where Matt Lee comes in. And again, Cohen is a great pickup. Hopefully, get Zion Nelson back. Obviously, Francis Mauigoa is a big one. So there's a ton of young guys and even older guys that are going to be very, very instrumental. But to me, I think the biggest one was Matt Lee. At the end of the day, if you have a good leader, most of the time you can navigate your way through a storm. So again, we're talking about quarterbacks, and to me, I'm not really going to go necessarily into these guys a lot. We'll watch a little bit of tape, and I'm going to tell you things that I like about both guys. I'm not going to go into the negative, but to me, these are the three things that a good quarterback has to do. Okay, so we're going to start off with Jakari, and really number one is have a functioning offense.
Stuff that could be sensitive information, some of those boards and walls, and it's just not worth having outside.
Oh, shit. So we're going to watch a little bit of film on both Jakari and Emery. I'm just going to go over positives that I really like about both of these guys. Okay. So really when you're talking about QB2, like what are guys looking for? How do these guys get on the field? So really number one, it's functioning offense. So again, when we watched him versus Georgia Tech, he looked very, very good. The offense functioned well, a lot of good run game, a lot of good pass game. That to me was the check of number one. Number two, accuracy. As you can see here, he was throwing accurate balls. There's even a slant here later where he hits a guy on a really good slant right here versus Florida State. Bam, accuracy on the body gives the guy a chance. I think that's something that, over time, I think that's going to be one of his biggest ones. Again, to me, this guy has the most upside out of the room. He potentially could be a Heisman Trophy winner. But the biggest thing to him is going to be like this, beating guys in the pocket. To me, that was my favorite rep of him. He didn't run. He didn't move. He stayed in the pocket. He's staying strong. So to me, that's the area that I really want to see him grow the most. And that's why I'm super excited to see him play. When the pocket is good, does he stand in there? Does he fight? And then really, this is nothing I like about him. His ability to run, obviously, we know about that. Again, my biggest thing with him is going to be, can you beat a team in the pocket? We know this guy can run. We know that most of the guys on the field, he's going to be able to outrun. But whenever, you get to college players and you're playing the Michigans, the Ohio States, the Georgias, the Alabama, those guys are going to be fast on the edge. So, being in from the pocket is going to be huge. And then now we're going to go over Emory, okay? And I'm going to keep going down. So number three, again, it's situational success, okay? So what I really mean by situational success, and this is a really good back shoulder ball by him, but what I mean by situational success is saying, hey, when we're on third down, when we're in the red zone, like, do you succeed? Can you complete the ball on 3rd and 3 on a slant route? Can you, it's 3rd and 7 and we know we got to get the first down. Do you make a play? And we're going to go back through this. This is one of the balls that I would say for Emory, he should definitely be careful. But one thing that I really like about him, and again, I'm actually going to go back. So I'm going to go back on this fade, and I want you guys to watch because it was really fast, but I want you guys to watch. I'm going to go ahead and pause it, but I want you guys to watch that. See how that guy's in his face? I'm going to move this. So see that guy's in his face. To me, I really like that. And there's another clip we'll see later. Same thing kind of happens where, this is really, really big for a young guy to say, hey, whether it's a good pocket or a bad pocket, I trust my line. I'm going to step in and throw. Now, we'll say in a real game, I think this guy's going to take his helmet and shove it right through his stomach, and this ball's probably going to float somewhere around here. But one thing that I do love is that you guys seeing a young guy that's going to stand in there and not be afraid and throw a decent ball. And to me, I really like that, and again, we're going to go back to situational passing, but the big thing that I really think in one area that we have to improve in is the red zone. Field goals are good, but, can you go down there and can you score on, 1st and 10, 1st and 7? That to me is going to become where, can these guys really separate themselves? Again, we're going to watch this 2 guys in his face. We're going to go back. Again, this is very good for a young guy right here to have 2 guys. A lot of people in the situation is going to roll and they're going to go out because they see opposite color. You see here, this one he gets off and he's definitely going to get smashed. That's going to hurt, but it's going to be a touchdown. So again, both of these guys show a lot of ability. Both of these guys have a very different type of play style. I think Jakari Brown is the guy that at any moment he's literally going to hit his forehead on the goalpost between his arm talent or his speed. And I think the big thing that a lot of people like about Emory is just his consistency. Again, he's not going to wow you with his legs, but you watch him, he will go 7 for 7. He will go 8 for 8. He's going to be one of those guys that just has a very, very high pass percentage. My biggest thing to both of them is very much minimizing mistakes. If they can do that, to me, either one of these guys can take QB2. Again, it's all going to be about who can have a functioning offense. And again, a lot of stuff with a functioning offense is, to me, is more pre-snap. Hey, where's your mic deck? What is the play? What's the defense in? Like, do you know what's going on around you to even function in an offense before you even throw it? Like, can you just go out there and just do the simple run game? Can you go out there and deck the right guy? Can you go out there and, hey, they bring a blitz? Can you adjust the play? That is a part of, functioning that I think both of these guys are slowly learning. So next, we're going to go into my TBD takeaways. This is going to be very, very quick. But number one, he looked comfortable. He looked confident. To me, I was very excited to see Tyler out there. He looked like a guy that, was just having fun playing football there with the boys. So to me, I think that part of the football game is very, very, undertaken. Sometimes when guys get in their head, especially the quarterback, plays move in split seconds, and you have to make really fast decisions that if you're not out there just, free, relaxing, and having fun, then it's going to be very, very hard for you to be successful. Number two, the system fits him. Again, this is a system that is an air raid, but it's almost like a run and shoot where they're going to be really, really good with the run, but it's going to be, slants, outs, hitches, and we will go vertical. So as you guys saw, there's a video of Xavier Strippel going deep. So we will go vertical. But I think for the most part, the biggest thing that, Dawson wants to do with Tyler is create a really good rhythm, create comfortability. The worst thing that you can do is go into a game and your first 4 or 5 passes are incomplete. The best thing you can do is throw screens, throw slants, throw quick game, throw something that's, very short to intermediate to kind of get him confidence, get his momentum up. And then you start taking your shots, you start doing, your trick plays and those things like that. So I think that the ideology of what Dawson wants to do from a quarterback standpoint definitely favors Tyler heavily. And last one, again, position upgrades. We hear about the running backs, the receivers, the offensive line has all upgraded. So to me, a quarterback is definitely dependent on the guys around him. Now there are, people that can take over a game, but obviously Tyler is a pocket passer. He's someone that if you give him a good pocket, you give him receivers that can win most of the time, he will do his job. So all the position groups around TVD have all upgraded. I think this is going to be very, very big for him. And even the confidence. Again, you need a quarterback that is confident. That was the one thing that I really, really saw in Stetson Bennett. Obviously, Stetson's there to make the throws, make plays. But if you saw the confidence level that he had, not only in himself, but the guys around him, their ability to make plays, to me, that's when a quarterback is going to have a successful year. And that's really what we need out of Tyler and the guys around him. So next, we're going to go into how I believe Miami can have a 9+ year. And then I kind of go into the schedule, tell you teams I think we're going to win, teams I think are going to beat us. So one, over prep. A lot of times, especially in the past when I was younger, you have guys, we're playing Duke or we're playing Virginia, VT, whoever we were kind of playing. I don't really need to prep as much. I'm only going to watch the minimum amount of film. I'm not really going to watch as much. To me, when you over prep for a team, it just makes you that much better and obviously prepared for them. So to me, every game over prep, know everything, know stuff that they haven't done yet that you think they might do just because it's Miami. So to me, I think that's number one. Number two, mental toughness. Whether it's, an injury, obviously, the longer you get to the season, you're going to have nicks, you're going to have bruises at the end of the day. Like I tell a lot of my young quarterbacks, your body is going to follow your mind. If I am mentally weak, my body will hurt more. If I'm mentally weak, I'm not going to do everything that I was doing by week 1 by week 9. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to do the same thing I was doing week 1 as I am week 9 because I'm more into school now. I'm taking tests now. I'm letting all these things kind of get in the way. And again, school is important. Tests are important. So obviously you got to take those and make good grades to be on the field. But also you got to make sure that you're in a routine, that you're mentally tough to say, hey, what was I doing that made me successful, and keep doing that over and over and over again. So to me, mental toughness is going to be big. 3, minimizing turnovers, and on the defensive side, getting turnovers. That was one thing that in 2017, I think we did a really good job of, especially on the getting turnover side. Obviously, the turnover chain, et cetera. But, minimizing turnover on the offense and gaining turnovers on defense to me is number 3. And lastly, especially for the offense, create explosive plays. Obviously, we know we're going to go deep, but this can be a quick slant. This could be a screen. This could be a run. It doesn't have to be a go or a post or, some type of deep shot or double move. This should come from ordinary plays like slants. I mean, you guys remember Duke when I throw Amon Richards, I think it was like 3rd and 3, maybe 2nd and 4. I throw him that little quick underneath route. He catches it and he goes all the way across the middle, up the right sideline, and scores for a touchdown. That wasn't a post. Obviously I threw a couple of them, but, creating explosive plays off very simple routes is something that this Miami team has to do. So we're going to go into Miami schedule. Okay. So I'm just going to say win, loss. Not we're going to say the score, but I will say how many points I think we need to score to beat each team. Miami, Ohio. So I'm going to go into a schedule. I'm going to tell you wins and how many points we need to score. So Miami, Ohio, W 24, Texas A&M, W 28, Bethune-Cookman, W 14, Temple, W 17, Georgia Tech, W 20, North Carolina, W 28, Clemson, W 35. That one's hard. I actually take that back. Clemson, L, but we got to score over 35. And I don't know if we'll be able to do that, but Clemson, L, 35, Virginia, W 21, 24, so around there. Florida State, I hate saying it, L. But to me, if we can score over 35 points, we beat them. We got to score over 35. They're going to have a really good offense. They're going to have playmakers. They're going to score 3 or 4 times a game, unfortunately. So we got to be able to score 6 or 7 times a game. So 35 is where I have us. Louisville, tricky game. Again, this is where mental toughness come in because we just lost to Florida State on the road. Can we come back and beat Louisville? You're going to have a very confident Louisville team. So this is potentially where I can see maybe our next L. But I think if we're mentally tough, we come back and beat Louisville. And I know some people are going to say, well, what about North Carolina? again, I think the biggest reason why North Carolina has a lot of hype is because of Drake May. Obviously, that guy is going to be a first round talent draft pick. He also lost Phil Longo, his offensive coordinator. So he is not learning from, but there is going to be a new kind of cohesiveness that goes between him and the new OC. So I think that's the reason why I think we kind of bump them. And then Boston College, man, it's going to be cold. But if we able to beat Louisville, we'll go back and beat Boston College. So that's the reason why I have us, 10-2. I could see us going 8-4. I mean, potentially we could go 7-5. I mean, that could be an L. That could be an L. And I mean, Texas A&M could be. So to me, it's all about mental toughness. When you get hit in the mouth, how do you respond? Do you fold or do you start hitting back? So next, what we're going to go over is to me, it's Big 10 or SEC all the way. Miami needs to figure it out. Again, I don't know if they will leave the ACC, but to me, I'm leaving. I'm gone. I don't know if you guys saw, but they dropped the national playoff projections, and they had not only one, but they had two, both sides were SEC, Big 10. It was Georgia, Ohio State at 1-4, and Michigan, Alabama at 2-3. And what's crazy is those teams have to play each other. If it's not in the regular season, it's in their conference playoff game. Josh Pat was talking about, hey, if they actually canceled the SEC, they canceled their conference game, they'd have two teams every year in the college playoffs. And to me, you're seeing more and more evidence of how biased, these committees and people are towards the Big 10 and the SEC. So to me, I know they don't want to expand, but to me, there has to be a way for, us at some point to try to get in, whether it's, one, I think we got to win. I think that helps. But, two, I think Miami's market is big enough to, hey, like once we get there, we're able to grow. And I think we'll be a big help to the SEC or the Big 10 when you're talking about money market. Yeah. So I know that, Florida State, Clemson, UNC, and NC State, they rejected two of the Pac-12 teams to come over. And y'all got to do better than, like, who are you going to go get? Going to get Notre Dame? I doubt they join. I mean, what's going to wind up happening is you're going to have these four teams that keep Stanford and the other team from coming in. And then what's going to wind up happening is in 3 or 4 years, I bet you Florida State and Clemson are the first two teams out. And I bet you North Carolina's right behind them. And I bet you Miami's right behind that. And you're going to allow a conference that, basically is going to wind up folding at some point. And this basically happened the same thing with the Pac-12 when they wanted to expand. The teams didn't want to, USC, UCLA, and now look what happened. They left. And this is basically deja vu for the ACC. So I would say that if the ACC wants to keep intact, either you add Notre Dame, Stanford, and one other team, or you basically make these guys figure it out, because right now they're definitely crippling you. We would take a quick break to thank our sponsors, BIG10 Sports. BIG10 Sports is an exciting NFT project that combines real-world sports and NFT culture. Behind an experienced leadership team, the project just launched their 3rd season and offers free-to-play sports prediction prizes every month. They gave away a $250 NFT for the Masters alone. Follow them on Twitter at DGenSportsIO. And lastly, when we go into college football, because I've been hearing a lot of hype about Texas, I think Texas is a team to keep your eye on. But, number one, this has been some of the biggest hype recently, last couple of weeks, is can Arch Manning pass Quinn Ewers? And honestly, I don't know. I think talent-wise, I think Arch has a little bit more. Obviously, Quinn could potentially be a first-round draft pick, but I think our Arch at some point when he starts will be a first-round draft pick with his IQ, his size, his ability. But, at the end of the day, I wouldn't necessarily say I don't think it's right unless you have a situation to where like Quinn Ewers is just playing bad. Maybe the offense isn't functioning right. But I don't think that just because, this guy isn't a Heisman candidate and isn't like throwing for 400 or 500 yards a game that you all of a sudden play Arch Manning, because at the end of the day, you don't want to rush Arch. Quinn's going to be gone next year. You do want to get his feet wet. But also, too, what happens to Malik Murphy? Did you not see that guy in the spring game? I mean, that guy is electric. He has a huge arm. If, Arch winds up passing Quinn, you're going to wind up having Malik Murphy transfer out. I think it'll be very interesting to see what happens. But I know there's a ton of buzz about, Arch taking over the job. And then the person that's getting left out to me is Malik Murphy. Where does he go? To me, there's a ton of schools that would take him. I'm potentially thinking about a UNC, maybe even Miami. I don't know what's going to happen. I think it could be very interesting. I can see Florida State taking him after losing Jordan Travis. I can see Oregon reaching out because he's obviously from the West Coast. They're going to lose Bo Nix. So I think there's a lot of situations to where, Malik Murphy could have some, good options if, Arch winds up passing Quinn. But to me, it just doesn't necessarily make a lot of sense to have, Arch pass Quinn unless Quinn is just playing bad, or unless, you think Arch can go out there and win you a national championship. So I thank you guys for watching this episode. Again, please subscribe, like, and share, as I'm going to continue to do this each and every week, and I enjoy it. Thank you guys, and have a great rest of your day.